Let's first get out of the way what this issue isn't about. This has nothing to do with immigration. Now, sure, the case in question involves the deportation of Venezuelan migrants who the administration claimed were members of a violent gang. Now, although they never provided any evidence nor employed due process, in fact, several of these migrants actually sought asylum status, alleging they are victims and targets of the gang in question. Anyway, an emergency hearing was scheduled where a federal judge rightfully said that a 1798 wartime statute that the Trump administration was trying to bootstrap to justify these actions, it didn't apply to the case, and he ordered the deportation to stop until they figured it all out. An order that the White House chose to ignore, claiming they couldn't turn the plane around in time. Now, more notable was that in the aftermath, how Trump's folks chose to lean in. Take a listen to what Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, and his press secretary had to say.
We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
I'll quote Tom. He said, "I don't care what the judges think."
Trump predictably was hardly chastened. Here's his text on Truth Social. "I'm just doing what the voters wanted me to do. This judge, like many of the crooked judges I'm forced to appear before, should be impeached," in all caps. Now, this comment actually elicited a rare rebuke from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, with John Roberts saying talk of impeachment was essentially reckless and unwarranted. He took the rare step, I believe, because he sees what the rest of us do. We are heading for a constitutional collision course. Trump is itching for a fight to establish that he has unlimited and uncheckable power, and no court or Congress can say otherwise. Now, between his actions leading up to the insurrection, his rationalization of being bulletproof after the presidential immunity ruling, and his words and his deeds since the election, the Donald believes that the checks and balances and the separation of powers that our founding fathers established don't apply to him. And so far, no one in his party is telling him otherwise. The courts, however, have largely held the line, pushing back on DOJ's lawless purges, Trump's attempts to end constitutionally protected birthright citizenship, and so on. The reaction of the White House has been to target the judges and to basically dare the courts and Congress to stop them. In fact, Vice President J.D. Vance said as much, stating only a couple weeks ago, quote, "Judges, including the Supreme Court, aren't allowed to control the executive branch's executive power." And then, misquoting Andrew Jackson, he said the following: "The Chief Justice has made his ruling, now let him enforce it," end quote. Think about that. Trump has already ignored Congress's constitutional power of the purse by withholding federal funds and firing federal employees and senior officials without cause. And, seeing the cowardice of the legislative branch, he's now turning his attention to the courts. We are headed for a showdown at the High Court, and while I have little faith after a shocking spate of activist, unprecedented rulings from this group, if they choose to follow the law, we will then be at the Rubicon. Will Trump, like every president before him, accept that the ruling, even if he doesn't like it, or will he double down with his attack dog Vance and do what he wants anyway? These, my friends, are blinking red lights for any democracy. This time it's ours. If a president has unitarian power without limits, then those threats against a free press or political enemies, or being a president only for red states, and all the once unimaginable threats could become our new normal. This is not hyperbole. These are literally the stakes in front of us.